And I say this with all like calling myself out. I lived in that world. And you know why I did? Because I was in the exam room 24/7. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. This is the one mistake that is holding ODs back. This is why your practice is not growing. It's taken me 13 years, 14 years to figure out myself, and I'm maybe 10% there. I'm getting better. I can get even better. You need to know what the problem is before you can improve it. Figure out what it is. We have the closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD Podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. Oh, good times, having fun, loving the business that we are in. Closing up on 2025, had a great year. New things coming down the line. We have new doctor coming on in May. I need to make sure that his onboarding is as smooth as it possibly can be. That's where I'm going to be putting a lot of time and effort, making sure he has the support to be successful. I didn't get here on my own. I've had a lot of people that helped me along the way. I think he's in a great environment with me and the other doctor at the office to help support him clinically. I think the staff is going to give him a lot of support. I need to make sure he believes in himself, but that's one of the things where I want to get him up to speed as quick as possible, and not only the primary care aspect, but get him into our advanced therapy, dry eye treatments, and start kicking butt and taking names. That's huge. Want to get over the $2 million revenue mark. I think that would be a good accomplishment. One of my other goals, I do not want to be the top producer in the office. This is a really big step for me to be the CEO and owner of the business, but it is a shot to the ego. I'm a very competitive person, and I love doing well. I'm that's my goal, but I'm still going to work as hard as I can to be that top producer. The other doctors should beat me. Period. I've down scheduled. They have all the tools. They're great at what they do, but it's just those are things I'm looking forward to. Need to figure out where the direction is in 27, what I want to do in that regard, where I want to be, how I want to be practicing. I get a lot of questions of, with the growth that I've done, what's the next steps? Still trying to figure that out. I'm going to my P3 conference here in a week or two. I'm excited. By the time you listen to this, I will be at that conference and done with it, so I'll have some insight to give you there. This episode is probably the biggest mistake I see ODs make. It's the biggest mistake I made for the first 14 years of my career. I still am not very good at it, but we need to talk about it. Got to bring it to our attention. Bring it to my attention. If you don't talk about it, you can't fix it, right? First step to solving a problem is admitting you have a problem. And I have a problem. All right. So this step is ODs, especially private practice ODs, are too involved in their business. They're too involved in the day-to-day operations. When you are involved in day-to-day operations, you cannot see past, we're not filling out the fee slips right. We're missing co-pays. People aren't answering the phone right. Sally is mad at Jane. Jane's mad at Sally. Like day-to-day stuff. If you talk to someone that runs look at the Lens Crafters chain. We'll use that. Or RX Optical in Michigan chain. And like, Jane's mad at Sally. Like, who cares about Sally? Are we doing our end of the year campaigns? Has everyone got the POP out? Stuff like that. Oh yeah, we got the branding stuff out. Yeah, they don't care about Sally and Jane fighting. Right? They do not care about the day-to-day operations. And this is also something that we do, that we look at advertising versus marketing and strategy. Right? Advertising is use it or lose it. Back to school. the little campaigns that you run. Like there's a eclipse coming and you're buying glasses for that. Okay, cool. The good practices, the elite practices, are looking at the economy in 2030, knowing that we're going to be forecasting. Are you guys aware of this? That they're forecasting that we'll probably be not in a recession, but a depression, right? Depression. That's what's forecasted. Still ways to make money and be a profitable business in those times, but you have to have money set aside. You have to be ready to make moves. You have to be positioning yourself to thrive in what the world's going to be like then. Yeah, 2030s. Most of you guys listening to this, myself, I think I'm better now because I can think a year ahead maybe. I told you I was thinking about 27 goals, right? I'm getting there. Haven't even thought about what's going to happen next year. And I say this with all like calling myself out. I lived in that world. And you know why I did? Because I was in the exam room 24/7. If I wasn't seeing patients, we weren't making money. Oh, so I'm going to be in the exam room. And then when you get the associate, they have to get their feet under them. They have to learn how to operate in your practice. They might be a new graduate. It takes time. So you're going to know what you're going to do? Keep seeing patients and know what the business isn't going to do? Grow. Right? I've had the biggest growth in my office since I've stepped outside the exam room. And I'll say it again for the people in the back. Seeing less patients has allowed my practice to grow like 30% this year. Yeah. We're really doing good because I'm doing less in the exam room. I'm setting aside time to work on the business, to meet with staff, meet with my teams, implement things that need to be implemented. Things that I've wanted to do for years I haven't done, I'm getting a chance to do. I need to get a better team around me so we can do even more, but I'm building that. My culture is in a good spot. It can be better. But I've taken, honestly, it's been like 6 months that I've been preaching this culture thing. And it's something that you have to do on a daily, but it matters. When you are running a business, people need support. And if you neglect that support, things will go south. You have to have systems in place to make it happen. You create the systems, the things that we need to work on as owners. People, teams, culture, and numbers. Those things. Have a plan, right? It's very easy to say, it's very hard to do. I talked about this a lot. One of the best realizations I've had in the past probably year was that I would always go to a conference and then I'd come back and I've had tons of ideas. We have things we grow. Now, when you go to a conference, you come back, you have a million ideas, 3 of them. You have 3 of them. You have 1 week to start implementing them. Otherwise, they are lost. They are gone. You will not get them back. Other things take over. I have a list of those things that just haven't happened. They're on the to-do list. But guess what? I'm going to a new conference. New things to do. Got to be very efficient and calculated in what you implement, what you choose to take on. But it wasn't the conferences that allowed me to do that. I'm like, my thought was, how do I recreate that environment to get those breakthroughs? And it's unplugging, giving yourself time to think. If I'm on an airplane and I'm not having headphones on, I'm not looking at my phone, I can't answer emails, I'm just thinking. That's where the ideas come. Just in my own thoughts. When I implement that here, I go to a breakfast place, turn off my phone, get some breakfast, have a pen and paper, and just see what happens. And you'll be amazed at what happens. You just start writing, and then you'll have an idea. I'm like, oh my goodness, this makes sense. We can do this. We have to do this. You ever notice that your best ideas, I yell at my wife, right? I work out in the morning, and then I'm taking a shower. And when I'm in that rhythm of doing stuff, like, do not talk to me when I'm in the shower. Ideas are coming to me. That's where it's because you've shut off your other things. You're doing something that's so rhythmic, so routine, that the ideas come out. They're in your head. Give yourself an avenue to do them. And what I told you is my way of doing that. You might have go to a coffee shop, go for a walk. Do it on your voice note, on your phone. I don't care how you do it. Find a way to get those ideas out into paper and then find a way to make them happen. We have too many ideas in our heads that we can never implement. You took the chance. You made the jump. You have this private practice. Make it as good as it possibly can be. Do not be afraid of the day-to-day. Whenever I get to where, someone's sick or someone's out, I say, hey, I'm in a remote location. There's an office. We call it Byron Center, right? The Byron Center office called. Sally's out sick today. How would I react? Like, well, deal with it. You have staff there. Just get through the day. She'll go from there. Is Sally out for... No, she's out for the day. Okay, get through the day and you'll be fine. Make sure you do this, this, and this, right? But you get all connected because it's your schedule. You're doing this and it bothers you. And you start thinking, well, Sally's unreliable. We got to do something about Sally. And you're not doing the big picture plan. You're worried about this one little fire. Have someone else to put out those fires, right? You have to step back and see the big picture of your office. You're in charge of the vision. You're in charge of the direction. And you'll lose the forest amongst the trees if you're in the day-to-day all the time. On Fridays, I go into the office. I do work the entire time, right? But I try not to go into the office because the moment you go into the office, they're going to pull you aside. They're going to have questions. They're going to have things that are going to take your focus away. The biggest mistake ODs make is they stay in the exam room for too long. They never work on the business. They are constantly working in the business. I've gotten to the point where I think I can think about a year ahead. The great practices are 5 to 10 years ahead. That's where CEOs are making moves, doing things that are 10 years down the road. Think about that. We are living on tomorrow, what's going to happen, and they're 10 years down the road. The competition is thinking big picture, positioning themselves to have an edge there. They have like 60 hours in a week that they're doing nothing but strategy. We have, if we're lucky, 60 minutes in a week. Okay? You got to give yourself at least an hour. You need more. But if you can give me an hour, you'll see the results. You'll see the benefit. Carve that out. Protect it. When you have open time, it will be filled. I promise you that. Protect it. On my Thursdays, I have so many calls I make that are probably unnecessary. I have to get better at protecting my time. I'm pretty good about my Fridays. That's a balance in itself with family and work. But you got to get out of the exam room. That's the biggest mistake. The elite, the best of the best, are thinking about the future. Don't think about tomorrow. Think about the future. That's what I have. We'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and I will leave you with this. All right. This is from Ben Horowitz. Great CEOs face the pain. They deal with the sleepless nights, the cold sweats, and what my friend, the great Alfred Chang, legendary founder and CEO of BEA Systems, calls the torture. Whenever I meet a successful CEO, I ask them how they did it. Mediocre CEOs point to their brilliant strategic moves or their intuitive business sense, or a variety of other self-congratulatory explanations. The great CEOs tend to be remarkably consistent in their answers. They all say, I didn't quit. Life is a struggle. That, my friends, is something I can relate to so stinking much. No matter how hard I try, there's always another fire. There's always something that's not going as smoothly as it can be. I have had stretches here where I can sleep through the night. But invariably, something comes up, something happens, something gets me on edge, and I'm up at 2:30 or 3. And I just sit there and think about it. And I know that's the time that I have to take action. I used to think about that, and I just have those nights, and be like, all right. Now when they happen, I'm like, yep, this is my self, my subconscious telling me you have something that's lingering. Make a move, make a change, make it happen, and don't look back. Right? There's so many decisions that you need to make that you're afraid to because you don't want to upset the status quo. You're worried about, it's going to be different. How are we going to survive? I'll tell you this, Pop, spoiler alert, you'll survive. You'll get through it. It might not be how you think, but you'll survive. Culture is a big thing that I've talked about. Getting the right people on my team has been a huge focus. And I think we're in a really good spot. I think we have a pretty good culture. And then you get a ripple effect or something that happens. You're like, yep, got to go back to tending to that. It's never going to end. Right. And I talk to my manager who I can confide in with that is that's a feature, not a bug. Like, it's never going to be easy. This is the game that we play. Like, this is what comes with the position, comes with the responsibility. It's something that you need to embrace as part of the job. If you want to have security and comfort, don't run your own business. If you want to have a successful business, you're not going to get security or comfort. You're going to live in that discomfort, live in those sleepless nights like Horowitz was talking about. I don't think I'm at the level of them. They're in big, like, billion-dollar tech startups and stuff like that. I have a little office in Allendale, Michigan. But I take it seriously. I don't think that there's any difference running my company versus theirs except the scale of it, but the principles are the same, right? So know that the pain is going to come. And there's the pain of staying the same, and there's the pain of change. Pick your pain, pick your hard, right? One of the things that I see with people that I respect is that they're willing to ask the questions from as many people as they possibly can. And that's something that I've gotten a lot better at, is that inherently, like, yeah, I'm not going to ask the question to this, how to get through it, because I just have to suck it up. I just have to get through and do it. Ask the question. Because even though they're going to tell you exactly what you know, it really feels good to have someone else to bounce that off of. Someone else that's went through the journey and can help guide you through it. That's one of the big reasons why we have this podcast. I am a great example or a horrible warning. Either way, you will learn something from me. So send me your notes, send me your questions. I'll give you my 2 cents on it, and you can take it for what it's worth, but you're not alone. I'm pretty sure everything you're going through, I've went through, and there's been times when it's been worse for me, worse for you, but we are on the same journey together, and that means something. Okay? So embrace the pain of change. Never be satisfied with where you're at, and realize that if you stay complacent, someone else is coming to take your spot. I'm trying to get to $2 million in revenue. I want to get there really bad. 14 years ago, that revenue that I have right now was for the taking. And the office in town, I feel, is complacent. Someone is looking at me, and if I, let off the accelerator, I get complacent, get lazy, there's that money out there that they're going to take off my plate. Right? I think about that on a daily. And I'll end with this thing. And I don't know how to do it for what I do, but there's a guy that I know that has really built himself up, done really well for himself. But he started off as a manager at McDonald's. And during that time at McDonald's, just was not a good time of his life. Found a way and he's doing well. But once a week, he goes and he sits down and he has lunch at McDonald's because he never wants to forget what that was like. I love that. That speaks to me so much. And I remember when it was just me and really no one else. And I wondered if patients were ever going to show up. Every patient I see is a gift and I cherish it. I don't think the other doctors that I ever work with, that are employed in the office, any of the staff will ever have that sense of gratefulness. So I guess that's my thing. Every time a patient schedules to see me, even if it's a headache, and there's times when patients, if they go somewhere else, that's okay. You all have been there. But every patient that's on my schedule, I appreciate and try to give them everything I got. Because there was a time when they weren't, and that was a scary place to be. I have a different kind of scary now, but I like the one I have now better than the one I had then. That's what I have. Dr. Lily out.